motorcycle is whatever you want to make it. Turn it on, you can give yourself a real thrill.
What's going on, guys? This is Carl with the RacerRed channel. I wanted to talk a little bit about gear and the purpose of gear, starting from the top, working my way down. You got the helmet, which is pretty self-explanatory. You definitely don't want to have any concussions. I've been concussed way too many times, and I try to avoid it at all costs. So wearing a helmet is really important, and it really doesn't matter which type of helmet, really. Most of the high dollar helmets are just giving you more comfort and fashion. A lot of the cost is because of the paint job and because of the comfort features. But like for me, I wear O'Neill helmets, and I have for a long time. Disclaimer, I am sponsored by O'Neill, but I've been wearing O'Neill helmets for a really long time. It's not to say I haven't worn other brands, but for the most part I've worn O'Neill. So yeah, wear a helmet all the time. That's like the main piece of equipment. And something that goes along with that are the goggles. Definitely wear goggles, and modern goggles are pretty safe in all conditions. They will deflect a lot of impact. I've been hit with a sharp-edged dagger right in my face, and the goggles actually deflected it. So it's really important to wear goggles when you're moving forward at these speeds completely exposed. So in fact, I would wear the goggles before I even put the helmet on if I had to choose between one of them. Next is the neck brace, which I haven't really worn. Probably should, but I don't. And where this comes in handy is when you're doing high-speed racing or just high-speed riding in general. Neck braces are a really good thing to have, but at some point you have to choose whether or not you want to be able to move around freely, because a neck brace does take away some of your freedom of movement. And motorcycles are dangerous no matter what you're wearing. So there are some pieces of equipment that you just have to make the choice, do I want to wear that or not? And so far, a neck brace has been one of the pieces that I just don't really wear. Going down to the jersey. This is part of what they call the kit, which a kit is the jersey, pants, and gloves. And there is a limited amount of protection from these items. I would say it's mostly looks, but it does serve a purpose as well. The jersey just keeps you cool or warm. Each one has a specific designed intention. So look at the materials and decide if it's the one you want. But the jersey is pretty limited. It's mostly for looks. Over the top of the jersey, I usually wear a sweatshirt unless it's really hot. A sweatshirt is something that isn't a normal part of the gear or kit, just something that I like to wear personally because it really deflects branches and sharp objects really well. And I like to use Under Armour because they have really good materials, and you never have to replace your sweatshirt that way. I've used cheaper sweatshirts, but they don't last very long. If you wear an Under Armour or something similar, you'll never have to replace it. But it will stain still, you know, eventually, so I would plan on just wearing that as your riding sweatshirt. Out here, but I digress. Down from the sweatshirt, either under or over your jersey slash sweatshirt, you'll have a chest protector, and this is one of those pieces of equipment that varies wildly. So I like to wear soft armor, and sometimes I'll wear a chest protector. The chest protector that I currently wear is the O'Neill Whole Shot, which has pretty good protection and it's lightweight. But then when I am going to do something pretty dangerous, then I put the EVS Soft Ballistic Pro underneath my sweatshirt, and that utilizes RMF armor, which is soft until it receives an impact and then it hardens up, and it works really well. I can attest to that. That stuff has saved my butt many times. Down from that, and really you could even consider your backpack a piece of armor, considering it's covering a large portion of your back. And if you're riding enduro style stuff like I am, that's pretty important. And I feel more protected when I'm wearing a backpack, so I guess you could consider that. Not only is it protection, but it does help you carry a lot of stuff that you really should carry. And that is probably the piece of equipment that I carry almost every ride, but I really don't like to, because it's so heavy and moves around so much. Depending on what you wear, I never adjust mine, so I just have it set and just wear it how it is, and that can really hinder your movement or be too tight or too loose. You should adjust it every single ride, but I don't. So down from that, you have a lot of people wear kidney belts still, and I still think there is a use for those. I just don't think that I personally want to wear one, and I think most of the benefit of a kidney belt is protection of the lower back. That's kind of the part that's overlooked when it comes to kidney belts. A lot of people think they are keeping their insides kind of in place, and they are to a certain extent, keeping yourself from getting a hernia. But also, I think they really do a good job of supporting your lower back. So again, that's a piece of equipment that you kind of have to make the choice. Do you want to wear it or don't you? Then you have the riding pants, which part of the kit. Like I said earlier, it's kind of just for looks, but the pants are way more useful than the jersey. The pants, especially if you get the more expensive ones, will have padding around main areas, and they will also have heat protection so you don't burn a hole in them from your exhaust. And then lastly, they're made of materials that deflect stickers and bushes, stuff like that, that your pants would not. Things are getting slick around here. So pants are really a pretty useful piece of your gear, even though they are partially for looks. I would say that they are an essential piece of your gear. And dropping down from there, you have your knee braces. And I don't wear knee braces, I wear knee guards. And for the most protection, you'll want a brace, but I prefer guards just for comfort. I use the TP199 knee guard / shin guard. And they've worked out really well for me. They actually do have a compression brace, so they do brace your knee a little bit as well, but just not enough to be considered a brace. But again, they are utilizing the RMF reactive memory foam, and for impact, they are very good braces, well, guards. And so that's what I wear on most rides. I'm currently not wearing them. I consider knee guards and knee braces more useful for enduro than motocross style riding. And for what I'm doing right now, it's very possible for me to injure my knees, my legs still. It's just not as likely. So again, that's something that you have to make the choice of doing every ride. And for me, it's just not worth wearing knee braces or knee guards right now. And I take on that risk, but it is a risk not wearing your gear. Woo, this is getting slick and muddy. So, then you have your socks. Riding socks are generally long. They go right up to your knee, sometimes even up and over your knee. The ones that I use are knee brace socks. Actually, I use both, depending on if I have my knee braces on. But they make knee brace socks, which are up around your thigh, I guess. And they will help chafing issues with your knee guard or knee brace. And then your motorcycle boots. Also one of the most important, that's right up there with a helmet. Your legs, especially in certain types of riding, enduro. Oh, I officially can't stop right now. That feeling when your tires are completely covered in mud and you're just in for the ride. You just have to balance the slide all the way down. If you get a little speed built up, it's kind of counterintuitive, but you can actually fling some of the mud off. It actually does help control the slide better. So, your boots are a really important part of your gear setup because they protect your ankles and your toes. If you hit a rock, you're going to regret not having boots on. And if you receive a large impact of any kind, even to your suspension, where you're taking a huge impact, you're going to regret not having boots on because it's going to wreck your ankles, break your ankles, sprain them. And then the shielding on the front, I've seen branches go into people's legs before. I mean, your leg sits low, obviously, so you're going 20, 30 miles an hour through trees. You're going to have your front tire kick up a branch at a 45 and stab you in the leg, which I had happen several times last year. And it's not going to feel good with a boot on, but it won't break your leg, most likely. And so yeah, definitely, if I could say this, wear your helmet, your goggles, and your boots. Those are the 3 things you have to wear before you ride a bike. All the other stuff is optional, but highly recommended. And I probably missed some things. Well, one of the things I missed are the gloves. And trust me, if you don't wear gloves of some sort, you're gonna regret it. No matter what kind of riding you're doing, if you don't wear gloves, you get behind somebody and that debris moves pretty quick. You're gonna have some pretty jacked up hands. Also, they keep your hands warm, they keep them cool, they absorb the impacts from outside sources, but also they absorb the impacts from your handlebars, which is another feature that is really important. They take up the vibration, and I'm really picky about my gloves. I've made mention of this before in some of my other videos, but I really am picky about gloves, and there's a reason for that. That's where you connect to the bike. So it's really important to have a good feel. That's why I have so many different kinds that I will go to depending on conditions. And I really like me a good pair of gloves. Anyways, guys, I think that's all the gear. I probably missed something, but if I did, let me know in the comments. Catch you on the next ride. Peace.